Hey guys, my name is Swapnil and I'm going to talk to you about the Garmin Instinct. Now, the Garmin Instinct actually won a 01 award last year and it's been quite an impressive watch to use. The Phoenix 5S is mostly used by people who are into adventure sports, who do a lot of climbing, and people who are into a very active lifestyle. And this is actually a very relevant and a very affordable version of it. Let's get into what exactly the Garmin Instinct is capable of doing. Of course, the usual stuff the Garmin can track are your runs, your cycling, your climbs, your most activities like swimming, your activities in the gym. But these things every smartwatch out there can track, but the Garmin goes into deeper detail. When you're running, the Garmin is also able to track specifically whether you're running indoors or outdoors. There's a different metric applied into the watch's algorithm to generate the data depending on where you're running. For cycling, there is a cycling outdoors mode, cycling indoors mode, and there's also an MTB mode for people who do a lot of mountain biking. So there the metric recording is done in a different manner, and then you get the stats in a different manner as well. And the output, the data that is output from the watch for that activity is therefore unique. Now, when you run, you can of course measure your VO2 max using the Garmin Instinct. You can also basically use this to train for any athletic activity. What this is not a good watch for is triathlons, because it does not have a automatic multi-sport switching mode. So basically, if you are going from running to cycling to swimming or in that order, the watch would not be automatically able to go between those activities. But it does support tracking those activities individually. Let's talk about heart rate tracking first. So for all of these activities, we also use a Garmin chest strap heart rate monitor to take secondary readings of the heart rate. That we match with what the Garmin Instinct output and found that the variance was barely about 4%. And in areas where your heart rate starts to peak or rise, essentially, the Garmin Instinct falls behind by about a minute and a half. So it takes about a minute to minute and a half for the Garmin Instinct to actually register the spike in your heart rate, whereas the chest strap does it almost instantaneously. If you're using any wrist-worn smart tracker for activity tracking, know that it will always have a slight lag in terms of how your heart is actually doing versus what it's going to report. So the Garmin Instinct does not actually fall outside of that bell curve in terms of its accuracy when it comes to heart rate tracking. In terms of monitoring runs for speed, distance, and cycling for speed and distance, again, the Garmin Instinct was pretty spot on. For cycling, we used an independent GPS computer along with standalone speed and cadence sensors, and the data from those three sets of hardware versus the Garmin Instinct was basically spot on. It was nearly the same numbers throughout the ride, and these are multiple rides of 10-15 kilometers each. Same thing for running. Even with swim, the Garmin Instinct was able to track laps very accurately, with the error just being in less than 2% in fact. So over a 15 lap swim, it reported 17 in one case, and another 15 lap swim, it reported 14 in one case. So there is a slight discrepancy there with swimming, but we've not really been able to test any smart tracker which was able to track swims 100% accurately. So overall, the Garmin Instinct is a very well-rounded fitness tracker if you're trying to get into a more active lifestyle. And it's not just about you're going to run more or you're going to cycle more, but if you're truly looking to improve the way you perform at your physical activity, the Garmin Instinct is great because the kind of statistic you get in return for each exercise is really, really detailed. You get your breathing rate, you get your VO2 max, and if you're not even looking at all of that, there is also another really cool thing that the Garmin Instinct tells you, and that's your stress levels. It's probably my favorite part. And it's also really good at tracking your sleep. So overall, it becomes a very well-rounded package and pretty solid purchase decision.